India's de-dollarization efforts are gaining momentum. In 2023, first Bangladesh, then UAE, and now Indonesia will trade with India using local currencies. Other than that, 18 countries have been allowed by the RBI to use the rupee as primary currency. In less than 48 hours of signing a memorandum of understanding with the UAE for Rupee-dirham trade, India is in the final stages of inking a deal with Indonesia to trade in local currencies. And if you're wondering why India is ditching the dollar, which is also known as a global reserve currency and one of the most stable and strongest, well, that's because the weaponization of dollar and global financial institutions by the US and the West against Russia did not sit well with other countries. Something US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen acknowledged herself. Earlier in May, Yellen said that the use of sanctions motivated some countries to look for currency alternatives. But sanctions were just the trigger. A single reserve currency system, as it exists today, centered around the US dollar, has its own set of drawbacks. The exorbitant privilege, this gives the US an unfair advantage. It allows it to maintain large current account deficits and accumulate significant amounts of debt. And that can contribute to global imbalances and economic instability. And Russia-Ukraine war has just proven that it could be a big risk to rely on just the dollar. So several countries, including India and groups like the BRICS, are increasingly moving away from the dollar. Once signed, India and Indonesia will start using local currencies for bilateral trade. There is also a plan to link the two countries' fast payment system. And that means Indians visiting Indonesia will be able to use UPI to make payments. This will spur cross-border fund transfers in local currencies. The speed at which India is de-dollarizing can be gleaned from the fact that this deal is being talked about within 48 hours of UAE signing a similar deal with India. During Prime Minister Narendra Modi's recent visit to the UAE, the two countries signed an agreement which will enable them to trade in rupees and dirhams. India's UPI and UAE's IPP, or the Instant Payment Platform, will also be connected. If you remember, earlier this year, India and Bangladesh also decided to ditch the dollar for bilateral trade. While expansion of use of rupees is great news for India, there are some challenges that come with de-dollarization, which India must continue to monitor carefully. Heightened exchange rate volatility is one of the major challenges countries might have to deal with as they de-dollarize. De-dollarization can also impact trade, investment, and capital flows, among other things. And so the Indian policy makers must strike a delicate balance between potential benefits on reducing reliance on the dollar and the risks and costs associated with such a transition.
The tomatoes look good. What should I grow next year though? How can my farm adapt to climate change?
You only progress when you ask better questions. Mint. Think ahead, think growth.